Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro with us. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Randy McKay with us today. Scott Rabelais with us today. Wes Reynolds with us today. We got Consensus Golf Picks with us today. They're in Houston this week. We'll be talking about that. NCAA tournament about to get back underway tomorrow as the round of 16 will start. LSU baseball with a win last night against Louisiana Tech and beautiful weather here in the capital city. First day of spring football was yesterday. Lane Kiffin talked to the media following practice. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
The
and somebody in the triangle's looking for a coach, huh?
Yeah, somebody in the triangle's looking for a coach, and somebody in the triangle may be looking for a coach soon. The story.
I would say probably.
Yeah, the story about North Carolina firing Hubert Davis dominated the national headlines yesterday. When a job like North Carolina comes open, of course, that's going to be the big national story. But here closer to home, the rumblings have gotten even louder now as we get closer to the deadline for the buyout for Will Wade. None of this is going to be new earth-breaking information, but the idea that Will Wade could return to LSU as the head coach is starting to pick up some steam. There are outlets that cover North Carolina State that are starting to react to it a little bit. Jimmy, your sources on this, have been from, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, whatever, that, hey, when the season, maybe not quite that long, but whatever it was, at the end of the season, LSU was going to, if Matt McMahon did not have a good year, and most certainly he did not, LSU was going to make a play to get Will Wade back. And
no, that was
5 weeks ago.
But the confidence level picked up, a
Yeah.
little over a month ago.
And so was that going to happen? How was NC State going to finish the season? How was LSU going to finish the season? Well, if you wanted Will Wade to come back to LSU, the season finished exactly the way you wanted to. LSU was terrible, and North Carolina State slumped to end the season.
Oh, they're definite slide.
Yeah, so a groundswell of support in Raleigh, didn't necessarily happen with the way they finished the season. Then we had the exit post game where Will Wade was asked about the job and said a little bit more than maybe he had to say, but
Definitely.
was pretty prickly. What's a good word?
Animated.
Yeah.
Little kind of threw me off my information. I was like, oh, if he's going to make a move, I don't know if that's not it. I don't know. It was just a little bit out of line of how he has handled pretty much everything since he resurfaced in Lake Charles.
Yeah.
And, I mean, anybody that dealt with him in Lake Charles had nothing but glowing reviews about him, to the point where with Lake Charles East over here, and they're making every move to try and get him back a part of it. The other thing is too, Charlie, is just like we got a little disturbed when Verge said, hey, look, we can't win at every sport.
Right.
He's kind of right?
Well, there's a limited amount of money to go around.
He's kind of right?
There's a limit to the money you have, yes.
You know why? I'll give Verge one for that statement yesterday. Totally unannounced. You didn't even really know. You weren't even. Alabama's women's basketball coach took the job at South Florida.
I'll be honest with you.
I
didn't even notice.
Of course, no.
I didn't even notice.
But you can't. They're not supporting it.
Yeah.
They don't, it doesn't matter enough to them. Kentucky basketball matters more to them. They're going to outspend everybody in the league. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay? But Kentucky baseball or, LSU baseball. I mean, you can't. There's only so much. There's only so much, and so LSU football. That's the way
Has
it goes.
to be funded.
Yes, but
at the highest level.
But at a certain point, if you made this, my point is just this is the most economic fit. It's beyond. It's an economic utopian solution for LSU's men's basketball issues.
Yes.
It's not about raising the money and trying to find, man, can we get the money? Can we get the? No, it's about you can't afford not to bring Will Wade in. You want to. Is he gonna? What coach is St. Louis coach that would be sort of I know he just re-signed a deal, so maybe that's a bad situation. Martelli Jr. Maybe at VCU,
sure.
Another guy. Well, he's going to take another job at some point, right? Martelli Jr. Okay, so you go hire him. Is he going to stimulate the interest, the excitement that Will Wade would sell the tickets, sell the concessions next year? No, he's not.
No.
Okay, is he going to have the built-in support for his player budget like Will Wade already has?
No.
No. I mean, you'd
have to build it. You'd have to start over.
Yeah, I mean, and long term, can another coach have the success, more success than Will Wade? Absolutely. Probably Will Wade is a safe bet at having at least this level of success. He's been to the tournament 8 out of 9 years. The only time was not here. The way it is, it's a win-win-win-win. Economics has to be factored into this equation. It has to be. Verge is trying to tell us. He knows. Okay, whether they're borrowing away on money, whatever, they can't afford not to land him. But that doesn't mean he would come. And that was the biggest thing. And we had learned that he would. And that is, you go back to last year, he wasn't looking for an ACC job. He was looking for an SEC job, 1. Big Ten, number 2. Who's won 3 straight national championships in football?
Big Ten.
Including Indiana. Who's got 6 of the 16 left in basketball? The Big Ten.
Yeah.
Big Ten, Patini is looking Sankey eye, in the eye pretty much right now.
If not at this particular moment ahead,
I'll just conservatively think. Yes.
Their revenues are a tick above the SEC, not a lot, but just a little bit. When those numbers come out,
they were generating. They were doing fine economically when they were not doing nearly what the SEC was doing on the field.
And that's the point I've made time and time again. The economics of the ACC versus the SEC are not even close. And 5 years from now, there may not be an ACC. And if you think I'm crazy talk left the building when USC and UCLA joined the Big Ten. So you're going to tell me that there's no chance that 5 years from now that North Carolina, Duke, Louisville, and Virginia are in the Big Ten, and Florida State, Miami, SMU, and Clemson are not in the SEC? That wouldn't surprise me. And that leaves teams like Georgia Tech and NC State and Wake and Boston College and Syracuse and all that scrambling the same way that Cal and Stanford and Oregon State and Washington State were all left scrambling when the Big 12, when the Pac-12 went belly up. I don't know that that's exactly the way it's going to happen in the ACC. I just can tell you that today it's $30 million in difference, and it's only going to get bigger.
Okay, and this is why, and we talked about it, man, these Big East coaches are looking.
Yeah.
They're looking more. And we talked about, look at the Big East. We talked about it all basketball season. All the schools that just nosedive, at least serious decline. That's the worst team. That's the worst season Shaka Smart's ever had. He's been at several places.
Yeah,
it's the worst season he's ever had. Xavier, Creighton, Butler. Providence, Georgetown. Marquette had like 1,000 people at the game. This is what basketball is your main sport. We talk about the Big Ten's got 6 of the 16, the most. Well, who had the most in the tournament when it started? Well, that'd be the SEC for 2 years in a row. Okay, and how many does the ACC have left?
How many does the ACC have left?
What's that conference been? It's been one team and then a cliff, and that's how many they have left.
Yeah, Duke.
It's so, and he wasn't going to come back if he wasn't that comfortable with some administrative support. Has there been a major shift there?
The breadcrumbs are pretty easy to
to follow. We're not.
Bruce is the president. Mallett is the head of the board of supervisors. if Heath Schroyer, who is currently the AD at McNeese, is hired at some time in the very near future to be a chief lieutenant in the LSU athletic administration, that's not going to be any big surprise. Wade knows him. I mean, the buyout is a week from now. LSU has said nothing about Matt McMahon, good, bad, or otherwise, since the season ended 2 weeks ago. This is easy enough to follow the breadcrumbs about where this is probably headed.
And if I'm Verge, I'm sorry. Okay, when I retire in, I don't know, 5, 10, 2 years, whatever it is, you take my top three average and my income. I'm retiring 7 figures. Hello, I'm good.
Yeah.
Just it's just.
But you got to wait.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand why Will went out of his way and was more animated and had a little attitude. And is there a job open over there? I didn't know why he threw a little attitude toward.
Well, he could have stopped right there. He could have said, "Is that job open?" No. Okay. Well, then why are we talking about it? And it stopped right there.
This is not when he's defending Darian Williams because he's not the Darian Williams everybody saw at Texas Tech in the tournament. Well, guess what? In the tournament, Darian Williams has turned it on again. But he was defending his player in. What his role was and maybe his impact on the team. And I understand that. And he was when they got beat, and I understand he gets animated, but that one threw me off a little bit. I mean,
he said again? He could have. I thought, is that job open? That was a really good opening salvo. It was like, is that job open? Then why are we talking about it?
But
and he could have moved on right there, and he didn't. But he could have.
But I'll see one of this crew. It's Parents Weekend this weekend, and there's 50. I mean, there's kids from all over the country, including Raleigh. And, the family was very excited about having Will over there. Now, had they finished stronger, the better you are, the more it's going to hurt when you leave.
Yeah, that was the nightmare, that he would be in the Sweet 16, that they would have caught fire and went on a little run.
Yes.
And that's why, is it done? Is it done? Well, it's kind of, but not, you can't say 100% for sure. All of the I's and T's and all of that stuff. And you still got to wait a week because there's $2 million on the line. And I fully expect that North Carolina State, if Will Wade becomes the head coach at LSU, sometimes after April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, whatever it is, that NC State will come after them for that buyout money, saying that you had a deal in place beforehand. I fully expect that to happen, and then you'll let a judge decide. It wouldn't be the first buyout to go to some kind of litigation.
NC State's still a high major. NC State has an atmosphere like that North Carolina win, their last real win of the last 10 games of the season. They had one win where they were favored in the ACC tournament before they lost in the second round. But that atmosphere has been, I guess, since he's been here. Hadn't seen like that. I mean, I was there for the Vanderbilt game. It was pretty lively.
It's a long time ago.
But yes, but there's still NC State had to take a little shade of being a high major program to bring him in. McNeese is sort of a non-entity. I mean, I'm sorry.
No.
They've never won an NCAA tournament game ever, right?
Till last year.
Right. Okay. So when they hired him.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but they were kind of glad to have him. They knew they could kickstart their program. Guess what? 3 straight tournament appearances. With his hand-picked successor when it gets there. But NC State's going to be a little jilted here. NC State is,
and it's going to be a story. And Wade's going to take a little heat because one and done. They gave you a chance and all that.
It's going to
be a story for a short period.
As far as basketball is concerned, traditionally ACC programs have had way more support. Historically, than SEC programs, but the game has changed.
The whole landscape has changed, and it's dollar. Follow the money, And we're talking about the institutional money, okay. And the institutional money in the SEC is greater than the institutional money in the ACC. I'm not telling you that Mississippi State basketball is spending more than North Carolina. I'm telling you that when the SEC cuts Mississippi State a check, it's for more money than
LSU. A typical SEC financial situation where you're going to lose $8 million a year on him. You see Bonke's bench? A lot. She got a posse there. She's paying. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. You lose $8 million a year there. That's more than most. Okay,
Yes, it
okay.
is.
Gymnastics. Okay, I mean they're gonna, that pep band to go to the Super Six or whatever. Now it's just the Final Four. I mean that don't, the NCAA doesn't pay for that. The pep band to go over there.
And they all want their own room.
Well, but I mean, what's your budget in baseball now? Do you offset because you actually turn a slight profit there? Is that kind of a wash? Is that a non?
Baseball's usually
But you
about a
understand
wash.
what to Verge's point again?
Yes, there's
you
only
can
so
only
much
you can only
you can only fund so much at a level.
Yeah, Danny Bryan had to go hustle his own.
Yeah.
For the men's tennis. The women's tennis, they had to go hustle their own. And guess what? They're kicking butt.
And this also is nothing terribly new. It's just it's expounded so much. Skip had to go hustle his own money in the 80s to build his baseball program. But it's so much more.
But you got to make better decisions financially I understand the budget, the staff budget, and the player budget for football. Got to have it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now they got a waiting list. Okay? You see, okay. You got to win long term, okay? But you can't pay Matt McMahon more than Will Wade's making this year. You can't do that. You can't give him a 7-year deal. You can't do that. Those will catch up with you.
And that was a mistake. That was a mistake. So we're here at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street, Mid-City.
You talk about our happy hour over here, man. It's awesome. We took a little break over here during our stay at Bally's and our shows. In between the morning or the early and the evening shifts, and man, the great signature cocktails, man. The Amalfi Smash. They do a margarita, a twist on a margarita is really good. It's almost a frothy type of margarita. You just kind of a smaller one. Glasses of wine or on spec draft beer, you name it. Select pizzas, all half price. Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. All half price. I mean, you talk about that bar stays packed. I was able to get a seat one time when I came in here, and it was still warm.
Yeah.
And then it was the other bars. I mean, it is quick. But the happy hour specials are honored throughout the entire restaurant. So, I mean, wherever you sit, happy hour, it's a it's a very popular happy hour in the evening. Man, get over here and secure your spot. It is very, very busy during the weekend. So, it's not just for pizza. I mean, that chicken cutlet sandwich, I had somebody come over and say, man, I hadn't tried Roca. Man, I had that. Yes, it's legit. Max can vouch for it.
Yes.
Max?
Very good.
Max?
Love it.
Okay, there's your layup as far as we're going to agree today, you son of a... So anyway, that's Charlie Giggles.
You fussing with it right from the beginning. Too.
He likes to nag. So anyway, it's like that little nagging brother. Sometimes I got to pop him upside the head. So anyway, the other thing is, man, I had that with the eggplant, the Parmesan, but it's with freshwater mozzarella and with some basil and stuff and they use that St. Bruno's bread. You talk about delicious, man. So I'm getting that over here today. The Neapolitan style pizza. It's a thin base pizza, but we throw just a little flour on it just to give it a little stability. Sometimes that authentic Neapolitan can kind of be a little flimsy, so we do that as well. And I highly suggest eat the pizza as soon as it comes out the oven. It's just so good. So, man, we got the meatballs to start off for appetizer there on the
bread knots.
Happy hours. Bread knots are a staple. I'm a little too old for those, for anyway. But they're a little bit too filling. But a lot of stuff over here is just wonderful stuff. Way more than pizza. And look, Chad behind the bar every morning, you could see all the prep work he does for their signature cocktails with the fresh juices and things like that. So the herbs that they have over here, and then Miguel's always got a smile over here at Roca. So
behind the bar happy hour Tuesday through Friday, 2 until 6 p.m. Half off all of your house cocktails, all of your draft beer, and glasses of wine. Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handycast up on YouTube, covering LSU baseball. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Go to SupremeRice.com. So the big story in national college basketball yesterday was North Carolina firing Hubert Davis. Davis, in 5 years at the school, and remember, this is somebody who played at North Carolina, who coached at North Carolina, and has been there for 5 years. His first year, 29-10. They went all the way to the national championship game. They beat Duke in the Final Four, Krzyzewski's last game. In the last 3 years, though, a Sweet 16 appearance 3 years ago, and out in the first round in the last 2 seasons, and they blew an 18-point lead to VCU in the second half. That's the biggest blown lead in the NCAA tournament in the last 8 years. Davis won 70% of his games overall and 69% of his conference games, Jimmy, in a lot of places. That would be just fine, but at North Carolina, arguably the best job in the sport.
Yeah.
Top three for sure.
Yeah.
That's not enough, and they let go of one of their own.
They did, but and we can debate whether or not Hubert Davis should have been fired or not. But we cannot debate if what was his stock when he got the North Carolina job. Who else was offering him? Nobody.
No.
I mean, he played, he coached at several stops, and he'd have been ripe maybe for his first head coaching job at VCU at best. Not North Carolina. But why was he hired? Well, you had a successful coach. And he retired. He didn't get fired, Roy Williams, and he handpicked his successor. All right? Bruce Pearl. He handpicked his successor, right? All right, so the only difference there is, where was Auburn basketball before Bruce Pearl?
In a tank.
Where was North Carolina basketball before Roy Williams? Had a lot of tradition.
Yeah,
a lot.
They had gone through a slight down spell, but they're the top of the sport.
No, he replaced a fired coach, but please. I mean, North Carolina basketball, that's the one they, so, and you even see, so Bruce Pearl's flat out nepotism, okay, but I think you kind of got to live with it. Henry Hayes and I were talking about it. He said, man, that was a bad hire. It was like, you got to allow him to, if Kurt Signetti, 3 years from now, and he has a normal expectation, wins 8, 9, 10 games a year for the next, 3 or 4 years, and he says, man, I'm calling it quits. No, this is who you got to hire. I mean, when Nick Saban left here, did they not ask him, what his opinion?
They asked him. They didn't take his advice, but they asked him.
No, they didn't, but they certainly did.
We'll wait at McNeese.
Absolutely.
No.
So, but the thing is, now Pete Thamel is reporting that they are going to go outside of the North Carolina family. What did they not like about the previous hire that he didn't work? He was just given a job because he's one of us. Okay,
right.
He's a Michigan man. He's a North Carolina Tar Heel, and he's how many times you see coaches refer to their ex-players as my kids. So it's a half step below nepotism, and so that's where they're going to go on this thing. I got to laugh at Stephen A. Smith, because he was a couple of days ago. So no, you got to go bring in Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith.
He's coaching AAU.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No, this is not.
I got all the respect in the world for Kenny Smith.
Charles Barkley's doing a game with Vitale, and he's asking, do they advance the ball to half court out of a timeout? Okay, I mean, you got NBA guys, doing college basketball. It's amazing how little they follow, and they're thrown into those, those situations. I mean, Charlie, we had a talking basketball in studio in one of the breaks. Did you see that?
I did
CBS?
not.
Good thing you missed that. A talking basketball that they were asking questions. Yeah.
TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State is going to be a prominent name here. He's had an awful lot of success in a short period of time. He's the right age.
Iowa State to be able to get a combination blow, huh?
It would be.
With
the two best coaches. They've had. It's a $4 million buyout. That's certainly not a hindrance for
they're
North
ready
Carolina.
to swing.
That's it. If they want to go higher than that, Dusty May at Michigan, he would pick up the phone, I'm sure. $7.5 million to buy him out.
He ain't leaving Michigan.
And I don't think he would either. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, $11 million. Nate Oates, $10 million at Alabama, if you want to go that direction. Todd Golden, if you want a national championship coach, $16 million. These are buyout numbers.
Oates will be interesting.
I think he'd answer the phone. I think anybody answers the phone for North Carolina. I'm not saying they could get anybody, but I think anybody answers the phone.
What would they offer him? Carolina, that's number one there.
And he's never going to be number one. He could win 5 national championships in a row. He's never going to be number one at Alabama.
Oh no.
So I think everybody answers the phone for North Carolina, and I think they'll get one of these guys. They're not going to strike out on 5 guys.
I mean, Oates and Hurley. Nobody's won more tournament games as of now. The last 2.5 tournaments.
Yeah.
Than Oates and Hurley.
And maybe he might. There was a rumor that he was serious about the Michigan job when it came up. Oates. 2 years
he's from there.
Yeah,
he coached high school there.
He never got anywhere, but his name was up, and he was at least listening.
Right.
At that point, they're going to get one of those guys. They're not going to have to dip too far down at North Carolina.
Otzelberger, he's had a really nice run in Ames.
Yeah,
an unexpected run. Even Matt Humans covered him in UNLV. Like, man, where was this attention to detail on the defensive end while he was at UNLV? So he has gained a lot of respect and Ames that he really didn't have in Las Vegas.
Right. Real quick on Hubert Davis. Somebody asked me last night, like, should LSU look at him? I'm like, look, they're not going in that direction. It's Wade or nothing. But wait, what is Hubert Davis's stock? And I'm gonna give you a what if. I gave you his numbers. Won about 70% of his games at North Carolina. If you're Boston College, who has an opening right now, would you hire him? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's the one power job that's
open
right
that?
now. Yeah. If I'm Boston College, I'd take a look at Hubert Davis.
Yeah, something like that. But the other thing, I'm sorry, Max, but Duke Shire's killing him in recruiting. Killing him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't just get North Carolina, you got to look Duke in the eye. I'm sorry.
Now, in Hubert Davis's defense, he lost his best player with a month to go in the season. I mean, that ain't nothing.
That's one.
I know, but he was an important one.
He's getting killed in Charlie, the team Duke had last year. They got 2 guys going to be first.
No argument that Duke has lapped
the top two rookie of the year getters.
Our friend Troy Macker has been saying for a few days now that he expects Billy Donovan to be one of the top names at North Carolina.
They're going to take a swing at Donovan. Donovan's been out of the college game for 10 years.
The Bulls are kind of in transition.
The rules are different.
Yeah. They're very, very different.
We'll take it. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, for all your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. A great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Roca. Live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
And return here at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City.
All right, let's go to the big dog. Big dog, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well, survived that first week there. And, kind of the Chalky McChalkerson approach worked pretty well, so it's pretty happy with some of the results. But then again, we didn't get the excitement. Some of them games are pretty excitement, and there were some good finishes, of course, with the Kentucky.
Yeah, but Randy, you still gave us. I think most veteran handicappers would certainly take the track record you gave us last week. Your first half numbers went 5-4. Okay, small profit, but the ones y'all got down on early. I've got 3-1, but I got a question mark on one. What was the number on Louisville when you guys bet it early?
Yeah, see, we missed on that one. That one hurt that first day, that big comeback. But I did bet back some late on the 3.5, so the game wasn't a total disaster. But it would have been nice to get the whole thing.
And you had you not, what would your approach have been watching in game, because they had such a big lead and you had such a notice? Maybe it's tricky to get the exact highest point on trying to middle or slash hedge an individual game, but man, you had a lot of notice to kind of get a middle, and it would have fallen that way, huh?
Yeah, you could kind of get a feel that without that guard, and they were struggling with that press a little bit, that there could have been a run there. And didn't see the one in Kansas coming, but did kind of see that one coming.
Did your group adjust? I know I had to pivot a little bit. I mean, I never lay the points with Duke because Duke is so public, and I'm always going to deal with an inflated line. Oh, I sure laid it after the first two came in, and they were, and it was, it was chalk. Houston, I just see a different little commitment to defense. I'm looking at the old Houston teams of the past years as opposed to this one, where he's starting two freshmen uncharacteristically, and they're not quite as suffocating on defense, and so they covered as well. So I had to pivot. But what did your group do when this thing was so chalk? Did you find yourself, or did your group find themselves on some of the laying the big numbers over the course of the weekend, where both Saturday and Sunday the favorites were profitable?
I didn't do as much Saturday and Sunday with the favorites there. There was a couple situations where we took some points, got a push on Utah State was one that comes back to mind. But it was kind of quiet. We did come back with Kentucky, and of course they had a good first half, but then Cinderella fell off the foot there in the second half. They couldn't handle Iowa State's pressure, so that game hurt a little bit, but then came back with a strong effort there with Tennessee, and that was just basically a pick-em game. We just felt like they were more superior team, and kind of played out there at the end. But it was kind of smaller, more limited type thing, because it was tough to get a read on some of them games.
Now, Big Dog, did you just call Kentucky basketball Cinderella? Did you do that? Huh?
Yeah, I called them that last week too. They only spent $20 million on that roster.
I mean, what in the hell? Where, Charlie? Explain it. I mean, I'm flustered right now with Big Dog.
Well, they hadn't been to the Final Four in 12 years, so you have to consider them a Cinderella, right?
Oh man! But what we did talk, I'm glad you brought it up, because we sat here a week ago and said these point spreads are historically high. And even with the historically high point spreads leading in to this the first round, it was still profitable for the chalk. And it was most sports books were still profitable, because I don't know when it's going to switch, when those casual guys who don't bet the sport until they go to Vegas with their group, or they go to their sports book with their group for that weekend, and they still bet in Cinderella, the mid-majors. And some of them not only are not covering, but are not even competitive. A lot of these covers aren't going. Do we see, and I really don't, I mean, they might regulate this whole spending and maybe put a salary cap on college athletics, and then they'll cheat beyond that. But some sort of regulation. But I don't see any pivot or reversal in sight.
Yeah, not as of right now. I don't think there's any pivot in sight. And I think the second week's going to be more of a traction going maybe forward with this NIL and some of this that sure you don't get as many games, but I heard before that you don't get the sports book so packed, and you can get better room rates if you go to a destination, that kind of thing. And the second week you can get a little better games, so maybe that'll be a thing for people to start more looking into, and of course you can get a little better product here.
Were you at a sports book in Arizona? Was that where you were?
Yeah, I was in Laughlin, Nevada, which is a small town right on the border there with casinos, and yeah, it was packed around here.
Okay, yeah. It was. I mean, we had a good crowd where we were as well. So it's still. I mean, it's still very. And look, the ratings, best ever on the first day of the tournament, and still, it's not. So I guess as more and more states are added, Charlie, and a little bit Kalshi as well, in some of the big population states.
The ratings in the tournament have continued to go up, and they're the highest ever. You know where the lowest ratings are? On the NBA regular season. That has continued to slide. If you're a basketball fan, this used to be
maybe
you would get into this is the playoff run. This is the last push before the playoffs. If you want to watch basketball, watching the NBA regular season is almost unwatchable with the number of teams tanking. So if you're a basketball junkie, okay, this is highly competitive, intriguing basketball, and the NBA just doesn't have it right now at this time of year.
There's some finality there's to it. I mean, what's the consequence of the result of this game? In the NBA, it's been long. It's long, and people are tired of getting turned on to when they go into the games and not seeing the stars play. A lot of times, Randy, has you and your group got on any of these 8 matchups that we see tomorrow and Friday?
Yeah, there's 2 sides as of right now. We have Alabama widely available +10. I think they'll hang in there against Michigan, even though I'm a little worried about Michigan's height here. But, of course, their guard play maybe isn't as strong there with that point guard. But that one we're looking at, and then probably just like everybody else, kind of fading Duke here, like St. John's +7. I feel like that's too many points for a Pitino team that you see Duke get calls. I don't think they're going to get calls against a Pitino team that knows how to work the officials just as well as they do. So see this as a closer matchup, grinder type game. This St. John's squad, and hopefully they pull an upset and get Duke out of there.
Well, I'd like to be a ticket broker in Houston this weekend. You got the home team. You got those maniacs from Lincoln coming down. They'll be drinking their Busch Light at 7 in the morning at the local pool. Is Iowa excited about being in the Sweet 16? I would say so. After knocking off the defending national champion, and Illinois has a pretty strong following in basketball as well. That's been pretty much their number one go-to sport on campus for quite some time. What a dream for the secondary market down at the Toyota Center this weekend. So interesting. Did you guys not take a peek or consider Texas? It's now 7.5 at our friends at the Queen and Bally's here locally, the DraftKings outlet against Purdue. I think this is a classic case, you tell me, Randy, where the overall resume says, okay, this is where the line should be. But, man, Texas is clearly better, and it starts with their big man down low, Volkaitis or whatever his name is. And, I mean, he is an impact on both ends of the floor. I would think that kind of fits into your cup of tea, or is that just me?
Yeah, of course, that's open at 8 and then went down, so kind of missed the number there with Cinderella now Texas, another Cinderella.
Yeah, yeah.
So 11th seed, and it's something to probably look into, And of course, some people like Arkansas getting the points, but we just feel like Arizona's going to control the tempo there, and give them all the, they're going to make an extra effort there in Acuff, even though High Point did have a shot. That was an exciting game to watch, one of the better ones of the tournament.
I thought that was the best, maybe because I had the sound on that one at the same time that everybody else, more people maybe had the sound on Nebraska and Vanderbilt. But I've heard more people say Vandy and Nebraska was, kind of the highlighted game. High Point in Arkansas was for me, man. That was fun to watch. That's fun to watch.
Those were both great. And it's Santa Clara, Kentucky. That got the biggest reaction when we were in the sportsbook on the first day.
Yeah. Randy, anything else before we let you go that you guys are interested on? Where are you hunkering down this weekend for Sweet 16 action?
Well, I'll be back here in Laughlin, Nevada, and I'll have a firm grip here. Start of the NCAA hockey tournament.
Okay.
2004, so the 16 games here. So I'll be watching that. Got some bets already on these games. So
come on real quick before we go up against the break. Who you got?
2 underdogs in that first bracket there in Worcester. You got to say it like they just say it with the lobster in the mouth. UConn plus 195 and Dartmouth plus 115. You go to the other side there in the Michigan bracket, and I like Minnesota Duluth against Penn. Kind of a fade against the Big Ten, which has been real successful for me since the realignment, since they took took Minnesota and Wisconsin out of the WCHA and made this Big Ten. They haven't been that good, and the numbers haven't reflected. So there's usually very good value against the Big Ten. So picking on the Big Ten here.
Dartmouth and Minnesota Duluth. So there you go. Break your Duluth maiden. Okay, if you never bet on Minnesota Duluth, let's do it now. Follow the big dog.
And UConn as well, plus $2.
Okay, so 3 plays: Dartmouth, Minnesota Duluth, and UConn. And Worcestershire, Massachusetts.
Worcester. And say it like you got lobster.
Serious about their hockey up there.
Thank you, Randy. We enjoyed it, man. Good luck to you this weekend.
All right, and also shout out to the Fighting Sioux playing South Dakota this weekend. They're number 1 in their bracket. So
yes, the Fighting Sioux, though, they have an unfair advantage. They have a bigger athletic budget than Cinderella, Texas. Yes, so there we go. We'll see you, Randy. Thank you. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. Yes, indeed.
Live at Roca Pizzeria, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, Jimmy, since college basketball economics is one of the topics today,
yes.
Of the 16 remaining teams, how many of them are paying their coach $5 million or more a year?
You got some heavyweight programs, obviously, with the Big Ten and the SEC and, others advancing. So I'd say 14 of the 16?
11 of the 16 are paying.
Who's the three the other three?
Well, I'm going to get who's the lowest paid coach of the remaining?
Well, I would say Hoiberg would be a consideration, but he just, at the end of the regular season, he just got a new deal, an extension and raise.
This is before the new deal is what they're
I'm counting that because I'm watching the tournament and they're talking about that. But Ben McCollum at Iowa,
he's second to lowest at $3.35 million.
Who's making less than him?
Rick Pitino. I told you you'd be surprised.
He's the first off my list. That's
of course. $3.3 million, obviously, he's coaching there at a discount. I would have lost considerable money, and I need to go see exactly what number they're citing. That Fred Hoiberg is making more money than Matt Painter or...
But you know what he's doing, too.
Or Dusty May at Michigan.
Hey, look, I'm worth 7, 8, 10, wherever you want to go. Give me that in player budget.
Yeah, and Hoiberg at $5 million is making more than Painter, more than Dusty May, more than T.J. Otzelberger at Iowa State. He's going to get a raise no matter where he goes.
Dusty May's new deal is going to be more than Hoiberg.
It will be. But for now. We'll take a break. We come back. Scott Rabelais from The Advocate will join us, along with Wes Reynolds from VSiN. Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And return here at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City. Rab, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm overwhelmed, guys, a little bit. There's a lot going on right now, but it's a fun time of the year nonetheless.
All right. Well, I'll let you weigh in on the Will Wade, rumors, whatever you want to call it, at this point. As this has picked up a little bit of noise today.
Yeah, talk about Heath Schroyer, the NC State. There are reports that Heath Schroyer, the McNeese State AD, is going to be coming to LSU to oversee basketball obviously, you can't you connect lots of dots. Wade Bruce, of course, was the president of McNeese when Will Wade was there. Lee Mallett, the new chairman of the board, is Lake Charles guy, and supposedly a Wade proponent. Wade obviously has said all the right things that a coach is going to say. I'm happy here, I'm moving sports here, and I'm sure he is. But I also heard that he doesn't hold any ill will towards LSU for the way he was let go, and that he enjoyed his time here. And I think he could be persuaded to come back. I think, but NC State's a good job, arguably a better basketball job than LSU. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But as I said in the movie JFK, the smoke there, but is there some fire? We're going to have to see. But it's a lot of smoke.
The idea is NC State's basketball program, are they more successful recently? Yes. Do they have a longer history of success? Yes. Are they in a league that has historically been better than this league? Yes. But all that's historic. And if you're looking ahead, we've done this economic discussion. You can make a real case for the Southeastern Conference against the ACC. We'll see. That story is not going to go away for the next week. Let me shift to the women's basketball. I erroneously had you on a plane for Sacramento. You are not covering the Sweet 16. I'm assuming because you're busy packing for Augusta, and that takes a couple of weeks.
He was in a TSA line, but he played
Dallas.
That's
right. Yeah. Think of it that way. You don't have to go to the TSA line in Dallas, probably.
Man, I'm praying that they get this thing solved before April 6th. That's for sure. But
I have one word of advice for you.
Pack up the minivan, bro.
Yeah, drive.
Yeah.
I'm willing to drive. I'm willing to drive, yes.
It might be shorter to drive to Augusta than to sit in the TSA line at this point. But women's basketball, they're going to play Duke on Friday. They beat this team by 16 in December in Durham, but since then Duke's gone 21-2. If they win that game, a likely not a rematch, but a match against UCLA, who they beat in the tournament 2 years ago. What chance do you give LSU in this now record-setting, historic record-setting offense to get to the Final Four?
I give them a better chance than I did at the end of the regular season. I really do. I mean, you lost. You lost to South Carolina again, and then they were just kind of playing okay. Then they looked great against Oklahoma, over 100 points. Then lost to South Carolina yet again in the SEC tournament. But they've really turned it on in the NCAA tournament. 217 points in these two games combined. I think they're playing at their best level. They've got to get the guards are great. I mean, Flaugier, Michaela. Wiley was a little quiet in the NCAA tournament games, but Jada Richard was good. They could all go off at any time for 20-plus points. They've got to get great post play in the tournament. Toby Fournier is Duke's best player, averaging over 17 and 8 a game. 6'2" center. They've got some size. And, of course, if you play UCLA, you're playing Lauren Betts. And as I just wrote in the column, remember that documentary they did about the Houston-NC State, 1983 final? Derek Wittenberg's talking about Olajuwon. He is a problem.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren Betts is a problem. She's 6'7", just got 35 points against Oklahoma State in the second round. But they didn't look uber dominant, UCLA, in their two NCAA tournament games against Cal Baptist or Okie State. So I give LSU, as Charles, I heard you say this first. Never forget, a puncher's chance. I know you weren't the first person to say it, but you're the first one I ever heard say it. I definitely give LSU a puncher's chance, but they've got to get some great post play from a Kate Koval or a Zakiya Johnson or something like that in these tournament games, like they did from LaDasia Williams in the Sweet 16 3 years ago against Utah. She doesn't play out of her mind that day. LSU doesn't win the national championship, and that's what it's going to take from somebody like that, along with the guards, to play great.
It's not somebody they're not familiar with. LSU beat them 2 years ago. UCLA beat them last year, so they know they know about that team. You thought going into the tournament, Scott, that they should be the number one seed over even UConn because of their schedule.
Tougher conference, had 18 quad one wins. The Big Ten is much tougher than the Big East. UConn's a great team, but I thought UCLA's body of work was definitely more impressive. But we're splitting hairs. They're really, really good. But 33-1 right now. They'll beat Minnesota in their Sweet 16 game before the LSU game. Why does ESPN do this to us, Charlie? 9:00 tip-off for LSU and Duke. 10:00 in North Carolina. Why do they do this?
I'm sure that there's a programming grid up there that could explain it, but I'll just go with what the fans want to hear. ESPN hates LSU. Yeah,
Right. Oh, there you go.
So it's just easier to say it that way. I watched the gymnastics meet in Tulsa this weekend. Scott, I can't tell you that I'm surprised that LSU didn't win because going into that thing, I said, well, Oklahoma's going to win, because it's in Tulsa, and that's just the home mat with these three powerhouse programs, LSU, Florida, and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to win. If it was in New Orleans, LSU would win. If it was in, Orlando, maybe Florida wins. So I wasn't surprised LSU didn't win. I think they can win the national championship, but I wasn't surprised they didn't win there. I was shocked that Florida beat Oklahoma, though. Shocked that Florida won up there in Tulsa.
I was a little bit, too. Florida had two great performances. They're the two best scores in the country all season for anyone in their last two regular season meets leading up to the SEC. And they kind of kept that going in Tulsa. But Oklahoma in their backyard, Oklahoma has their floor has been great this year. Like their lowest score is like a 197.425, which is very, very solid. And they kind of topped out. They kind of top out over and over again, right around the 198 or a low 198, and that might be good enough to win the national championship. I certainly expect they're going to be in Fort Worth, but yeah, Florida. I think these are the three teams. One of these three teams is going to win the national championship. I think UCLA also in this sport as well with Jordan Childs. The Olympian. You can throw them in as well if they get hot. But I think these are definitely the three best teams in the country. And LSU just has to be on that day. And they weren't exactly on in Tulsa. They were very good, but not great. And they need to be great. And they need to be great on that day in the regional, the semifinals and the final. Of course, they got the regional in Baton Rouge next weekend. So they should win that. It's not automatic, but they should win that and move on to Fort Worth. But yeah, I think. Yeah, LSU didn't win the regular season or the SEC championship. In most sports, you're like, well, you didn't win one of those titles. How are you going to win the national championship? But in gymnastics, it's not the same. They're still the number 2 seed overall, and they're still the only team ranked in the top 3 in the country in all 4 events. And they have Kalen Chio, who was the SEC all-around and vault champion. So that's a big plus as well, obviously.
And now we've reached the Allen Iverson portion of the segment. We're talking about practice. You went to football practice yesterday.
I did.
59 newcomers on the field yesterday. So
what would Iverson say about spring practice?
Yeah, right. He would have really gone crazy about that.
Go bananas.
So it would have taken a half hour just to introduce everybody with the new surroundings. But what did you see?
Lots of unfamiliar names. Couple of things that stood out at you. It's hard to see the offensive line what they're doing, but Kiffin mentioned them and the coaches. They've got 2 guys, including James Craig, who are working with the O line. So that's big. And Jordan Seaton, looks the part. I didn't know what to expect from Sam Levitt. I didn't know if he was just going to stand there and watch like Whit Weeks did yesterday. Whit Weeks did not do anything. Didn't have a helmet on or anything. He was just watching. And that's a little bit of a concern that he's not ready to go at the start of spring practice to me. But he
ran at Pro Day, Scott. He ran at Pro Day.
Okay, well,
I get that they're keeping him out or whatever, but okay, yeah.
But he didn't do as much as Sam Levitt. Let's put it that way by comparison. Levitt, he threw some passes when he moved, and again, we're really splitting the atom here. When he moved, when he jogged around, he didn't look like he was favoring his foot. Which had he had the foot surgery in November. So, and then Kiffin afterwards said they hope he can do more things by the end of spring. So I think that's encouraging. And then we were right there where they were running some run back drills, watching Levitt and the receivers. The receivers are big, by the way. They got we talked about how small LSU's receivers have been the last couple of years. They got a bunch of big long dudes out there. Over 6 foot, most of them who can catch balls. But the running back area, remember, we were like, right at the start of all this with the transition to Kiffin. And which running backs are going to come back? Which running backs can they get? They got a full boat of running backs. Someone asked Kiffin if one of them can be Keewan Lacey. I don't think one of them has to be Keewan Lacey. I think they can recreate those numbers in the aggregate, with a stable of running backs. So I think that was encouraging as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to put a lot of guys out there. Seaton's weight loss certainly caught a lot of attention yesterday. Jimmy, this is one of your favorite sayings in the off season. The waistline don't lie.
Waistline don't lie, baby.
He dropped, if you believe the Colorado listing at 330 pounds. LSU's got him at 307.
Wow.
Everybody that saw him yesterday said, yes, he looks like he's 307.
Did he get some feedback from maybe the next level that they thought that was his optimum playing weight?
I would imagine. They say he's been working like a monster out there. 6'5", 307 pounds. This is his money year.
What's the light diet that we eat down here? So
he's been at the salad bar for sure. So
coming from Colorado to South Louisiana. So.
Let me tell you, you dropped 25 pounds from the end of the season to late March. You've been doing something. So good for the big guy. Anybody else catch your attention yesterday, Scott?
Those were the main ones. We're, like I said, you're trying to say there's so many new guys. I'm eager to see with a little question mark on what weeks. I'm eager to see what TJ Daugherty does. We watched him a little bit yesterday. This is a guy who obviously it's a plus for LSU to have Blake Baker and most of the defensive staff back. There's a guy who knows the Kiffin expectations and the system and everything. And I'm eager to see what those guys who followed him from Ole Miss, along with Prince Will, say the last name for it. Prince Will.
Umamamielen.
Thank you.
Umamamielen. Excuse me. Umamamielen. I've been practicing.
Yeah.
Umamamielen.
He catches your eye too.
Can't say Belichick either.
I know. Wilson Alexander, who is on the way out for us. I have to say, shout out to Wilson. He's trying to work for On3.com. He was caught by Anderson. He thought the freshman looked really good too. So.
God bless Wilson in his next endeavors, whatever that may be. We wish him the best. Scott, appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yeah, what's happening with Weeks? He's an established player from here. Those guys, they don't want to play in spring practice. Okay,
and he's coming off of a major injury.
But he's good enough to go in, put a time. For the pro scouts. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine, but it's not uncommon for your established players. There's no reason to this is an evaluation period. You're not evaluating them.
I'll put Weeks and T.J. Daugherty up against any pair of linebackers in the country. That's about as good. The stats that they have put up in their careers about as
Kelly's
good.
words, our best defensive player.
Yeah.
They got banged up.
We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, open in Laplace and Lockport and LaRose. It's caught you there. Spring savings right now in your lawn and garden essentials. First day of spring was last Friday, so if you're out in the yard enjoying the good weather and getting everything up to speed, your spring savings lawn and garden essentials up to 65% off of a lot of your potting mixings, your planting soils, your fertilizers, your lawn and garden tools, including your garden dump carts are all on special right now on the website right now at thethibodeaustore.com. You can get to all 4 properties from that same website. Same-day pickup on anything that you can shop on the website. Delivery available on some of these items, too. 40% off of Channel Lock tools right now. Your best rewards, instant rebates for a number of items right now at the website. So it's springtime. You're cleaning up your property. You're getting your yard ready to go. You're getting ready to enjoy the outdoors here with the warm weather. Get to the Thibodeau Store right now and get your property up to speed, including your lawn and garden furniture, patio furniture available right now. TheThibodeauStore.com and 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Port. Live at Roca. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well, Jimmy. How are you?
All right, let's get to it. We touched on this last week. We talked about these historical high point spreads, Cinderella did, the whole thing. And even with the historically high point spreads, the favorites were is very, very profitable for the entire weekend, depending on where you shop, 9 or 10 games over 500. We've worked with you long enough, Wes, that you and I are, it's pretty close on, being sort of contrarian type of handicappers. When everybody's zigging, we'd rather zag. We want to buy low, not and sell high, things like that. I had to pivot a little bit midstream. Did you as well? What was your approach, or are you singing the blues of this past week? Because on Saturday and Sunday, with 5-3 and 6-2, the chalk ATS as well.
No, I did the same. I probably played more totals this year too than maybe I normally would, and those worked out a little bit better. But yeah, you had to lay some favorites here. You had to get involved in game, or maybe with some second half. But no, this was not play 60-70% dogs at all. I think in this tournament, you really couldn't. And even with the Sweet 16, look, you got a couple upsets through, but by and large, you have really good matchups. We're not getting the pure Cinderella. I mean, Texas is our closest thing to a Cinderella, for God's sake, and as a 11 seed, and they had their own network for years. So it's like we don't really have that true Cinderella, but the back end that's good of that, and I wish we had maybe one double-digit seed in there that was from a small conference, but the good thing about it is I think we got pretty good matchups across the board, even with some of the bigger spread games.
Longhorn Midnight Productions, huh, Charlie? Is that how we remember the Longhorn Network? I mean, next you're going to tell me is Indiana football is going to win a national championship or something.
I just wish I could watch the USC-Texas Rose Bowl again. They didn't play that enough.
Anyway, and even like Miami's going to cover the closing line at 8.5. I mean, and then they foul too early and foul too late and miss a layup along the way. We're like, when is this going to stop? When is it going to end? So, a lot though, man. You do see some comebacks, and it has been in-game friendly. To these guys, the Iowa States, or Miami had the lead where you could have laid like a 2.5, 3 in game on Purdue. Have you? It's kind of a new club in our bag with the mobile over here. Just a few years, some have embraced it, some don't. But did you use that tool this past weekend?
Yeah, I think you have to embrace it, and sometimes it's getting in when you don't have a pregame bet on it. And sometimes it might be buying out, like especially what I do that is for totals. But you're talking about like some of those games, like Miami, Purdue. It's almost like the old Super Mario Brothers, where you're trying to avoid the mushrooms here, and trying to avoid the landmines. It's like, man, I don't want to be involved in a game like that that's going to come down to randomness, where you're covering, then all of a sudden you're not, and then you see the sportsbook reactions like, oh, or some are jubilant and some are upset. So a lot of it can come down to like random luck, because these numbers have had a chance now that these bookmakers are done with football. They've had enough to bet it to like kind of put these numbers right where they probably should be. Right. You're not going to see very many lines up. You might see a couple with these smaller teams and these bigger favorites in a first round, but by and large the numbers are what they are. So you're not really getting a number edge. Like even you look at these Sweet 16 games, and it's not like, oh, that number's 3 or 4 points off. Whatever the result may be, the number's right, because the number is what the market will bear.
Well, regardless, for the second straight year, we've got a very strong field in the field of 16. So the SEC had the most participants in this tournament. The Big Ten's got the most left. No surprise there. Follow the money. But specific bets that you like, and maybe an angle, maybe not necessarily a pick, but any angle that you can help us as far as what you come up with in dissecting these 8 matchups.
Yeah, a couple I did play, and I'll go right to the Big Ten. I played Iowa again against Nebraska, because we saw that Iowa even if we didn't predict it, we knew it could happen because of their style of play against Florida, because they can slow down a fast team. And we knew that there's continuity with that Iowa roster. Ben McCollum brought 6 players with him from Drake and a freshman that was a commit to him that eventually committed to Iowa. So that team won a game in the NCAA tournament last year. So there's that roster continuity. And I think that absolutely matters. And you're seeing it in the Sweet 16. Yeah, you've got a couple all-portal teams, but you've got a few teams where they've developed their own players. And usually when a team pulls an upset like that, the next round they get to the second weekend and they're out-athleted. I don't think that's the case here with Nebraska. I think that they split the season series between them. Both teams won at home. So I thought Iowa as an underdog. This guy's an elite schemer, certainly, Ben McCollum. I mean, they don't have, elite athletes necessarily, but they've got guys that know how to run his system and know how to play how he wants to play. So I did bet Iowa there. I took a little Arkansas against Arizona, +8. I think there's still some 8 out there against Arizona. And look, Arkansas has the best scoring guard left in the tournament, Darius Jacob. He's certainly not the best defender, but they've got the best scoring guard. When you have a guard like that can kind of call his own number the final several possessions for you at all 3 levels, that's hard to beat in the NCAA tournament. So I think, this is probably the best guard Cal had since Derrick Rose, though, from that standpoint. So I thought that was a little rich against an Arkansas team that certainly isn't out-athleted against Arizona. So I did bet some Arkansas. St. John's Duke under. 2 good defensive teams. I think that's going to be a game in the 60s where it's going to be tough for both teams to score. So I did play that, and I also did play another SEC team. I played Tennessee +4.5 with much is made of Rick Barnes in the NCAA tournament. Oh, he's not very good. Well, he's been to the Elite 8 each of the last few years, and I think he's going for a 3rd time because Iowa State, kind of an interesting angle here. E.J. Otzelberger is starting to get talked about for some jobs. He's been mentioned for North Carolina. I don't think he's the first candidate, but there's another big job that may be opening here very soon in Lawrence, Kansas. And there's a lot of people that think maybe he's the heir apparent for that job there at KU. So you might get some distractions with some of these guys. Now, they'll say that it's not, and they'll say the right things, but we know better because we've seen evidence of it in the past.
So, Rick Barnes in his 10th Sweet 16 appearance. So with 4 different schools, Providence, Clemson, Texas. Texas was his only Final Four. He's trying to take Tennessee to their only Final Four. I think that was Texas' only Final Four as well. Is that right? I think so.
Travis Mays?
Yeah, I think so.
No. Travis Mays. They lost a regional final to Arkansas.
Okay.
To Nolan Richardson. Yeah, that was a Southwest Conference rematch at the time. All right, the Houston Open. Scotty Scheffler. He's in maternity leave, so he is out. So that shifts the board. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of bombers because that's what they have to be here at Houston. Then obviously have to be good on these tricky greens and be able to scramble well. But Jake Knapp, who did withdraw a few weeks ago from the API with a back issue and then missed a cut at the Players. But before that, he had a 5th, an 8th, an 8th, and a 6th. And he's really good on these wide-open courses where you can hit driver pretty much everywhere. Hit it long, hit it hard is basically the name of the game here at Memorial Park. So Jake Knapp at around 22-1. And then high 20s to low 30s because the numbers are varying because of Scotty's withdrawal. I'm going to go back with Nikolai Højgaard. I got off the Fitzpatrick train a week too early, and he wins last week at the Ballspar. I'm not going to do that necessarily with Nikolai. Marco Penn, also in the same range, number 1 for strokes gained off the tee on the PGA Tour, 3-time winner on the DP World Tour last year. Michael Scorbjornsson, much like Minwoo Lee 2 years ago, where he was a 36-hole leader at the Players and then kind of blew up on the weekend. And then we hit him last year. He came 2 weeks later and won in Houston. Scorbjornsson can maybe do the same. He was in the final pairing with Ludwig Åberg and then shot that 77 in the final round to fall out of the top 20. Number 2 in total driving on the PGA Tour is Scorbjornsson. And then some bombs here. Ryan Fox, 70-1, who withdrew to have the operation on the kidney stones at the Players. But now he's back here, and I'm going to trust that he's healthy and really good with the long irons. He's a 2-time winner since he was in the final pairing here last year with Minwoo. And Alejandro Tosi. So Ryan Fox, and then the two real bombs here, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, 24-year-old Canadian who taught himself how to play golf watching YouTube videos. Was fifth a couple weeks ago at the Players, number one for total driving, and then Michael Brennan at 100-1, who won on that sponsor exempt last fall at the Bank of Utah Championship in his PGA Tour debut. Was supposed to be on the Korn Ferry and got promoted here. Now he's kind of fallen off a little bit, but another guy that can really bomb at third for distance, sixth for total driving, Michael Brennan, 100-1.
Who was the one you gave before Brennan?
Ryan Fox.
Fox
and Yellow
I'll try to pronounce it. Yeah, I'll try to pronounce it slowly because I mess it up. Sudarshan Yelamaraju.
Gotcha. And Wes, a thought on the way out is as far as, look, if Cinderella, she's not dead, she's severely diminished, or weakened, whatever you want. It's going to be tougher and tougher. We know this. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a little bit sad, but I think we kind of understand why. And it's not just the NIL and the portal. They're big culprits of it, but it's also the television deals right now and the conference realignment, which is determined by television. And you see it even trickle down. It's not just the SEC and the Big Ten. Like the Mountain West, as we know it, is going away as they're joining some of them, or the new Pac-12. And then the Mountain West has to get teams, so they have to grab from the Big West and the Big Sky, and it just goes on. And it's hard when you're a middle school to develop these guys, and then all of a sudden they leave you. So, yeah, that's probably why you're not going to see certainly as many, I think, going forward. And it's even more pronounced in the women's tournament, where you only have a few elite programs, including where you are at LSU. You have more good programs, but not as many elite programs. So that's why you see pretty much all chalk in the women's Sweet 16 for the most part.
I think, in this year's Cinderella champion, clearly High Point. That was two really, really strong, exciting, entertaining performances. And you dig into them a little bit and see how many resources, how much money they have. I mean, they could fly, send out two charter flights of students, from North Carolina to Portland. It's kind of a lot of these small private schools have a lot of endowment, and they've got the money. Are they willing to spend it? Are they willing to invest? And so, I mean, you don't think High Point's basketball budget's going to go up after a little taste of this? Absolutely.
100%. I've seen the pictures of that campus. I'm like, that place looks cool.
And I'm sorry, but Charlie's a little bit older than us, Wes, but Texas did go to, when he was growing up, he remembers it, they did go to two other Final Fours in 1943 and 1947.
When did I become older than you? When did that happen?
This segment, Charlie.
Yeah, this segment. Wow.
Remember it just like it was yesterday.
Yes, indeed. And what was the in the 40s? What was the most popular Price is Right game, Charlie? Was it Plinko?
The Cliffhanger.
The Cliffhanger.
The Yodeler.
Cliffhanger. Wes, your favorite Price is Right game?
It is Cliffhanger.
Oh, there you go.
I hated that game as a kid.
Is that the Yodeler?
Wouldn't be my one to get selected as a contestant, but it's my favorite to watch, just to watch the agony on the contestants' faces.
As a kid, I thought the cliffhanger literally died. I was so upset.
The little plastic guy going over that traumatized you.
One more thing, because of social media. Have you seen the clip of the guy that was like a sort of almost autistic Rain Man kind of guy, and he knew the thing down to the dollar of the price?
Yeah.
I mean,
the lady that did her research.
Remember they made the movie on the pressure luck guy that could time the whammy on the board, and he was scamming him, and he was beating him for a lot of money.
My favorite was the guy in British.
All right, we gotta go.
British Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? He had help. He had somebody cough or make a noise in the middle of. He would read out all four answers, and then you'd hear a cough and be like, "Oh, that's the answer."
The next thing you know, they'd be banging on garbage cans. Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, indeed. Follow Wes on Twitter, X at Wes Reynolds 1. Thank you, Wes. Good luck to you this weekend.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, including their newest branch. We have an account over there. Man, people are so friendly at Burbank and Blue Bonnet. Love dealing with those folks. Our great team of Friendly bankers, that's right. Nicole Glover, Heath Meir, Prentice Wilkes, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. Stop on by if you got any type of your business, individuals. You're looking at this. You got somebody sitting in an account that could be drawing some, more interest bearing and things like that. Whatever it is, stop on by, man. They have more than accommodating. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
And return here at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street at Mid-City.
All right, so our golf consensus picks, Max, go ahead. Houston Open, no Scotty Scheffler. The odds have shifted.
Yeah, Scheffler did move some odds quite a bit from his Tuesday withdrawal, but nevertheless, still going to go among the top of the board. This is at Memorial Park in Houston, a fun layout. Look, it's a bomber's paradise the way they set it up. They traditionally, or as of late, have done a 1.5-inch ryegrass overseed rough. What that means is the rough is not penal at all. And I've played this golf course back in the fall, and when it's Bermuda rough, the rough is penalizing, but they want to mimic Augusta National, which Augusta National doesn't have much rough. It's ryegrass overseed, just like this.
I will correct you, sir. They have no rough. It is second cut.
Second,
okay.
Great. Thank you.
They will throw you clear out.
I might have been shot right there if you didn't think.
They don't have fans. They have patrons.
Thank you so much for clearing that up. I appreciate that. But, yes, the second cut is very similar this week, and it barely plays like any rough to begin with. So it's a bomber's paradise. You can whale on driver. That's something you're looking for. Might as well get some guys who are good, hitting the ball long. But also, these green complexes, that's what makes this golf course great. Raised greens, undulation, big greens. And Brooks Koepka was actually part of this redesign a few years ago, and that's who I'm going to start my car with. Brooks Koepka at 25-1. Not a guy I bet a whole lot on the PGA Tour, even back when he was on the PGA Tour. He's just a majors guy, but he is playing good golf right now and trending in the right direction before the Masters. Someone who, as of late, I mean, he's got 3 straight top 20 finishes now, and his iron play has been elite. His putter seems to be in order a little bit, and a guy who drives the ball plenty far enough. So Brooks Koepka, someone who knows this golf course very well, as someone who is part of the redesign, 25-1, I think a fair shot with him at the Houston Open this week. Also going to go with Sam Burns, our local flavor, 25-1. Burns, not the best season open for him so far. He did finish 13th at the Players, putted the lights out, and he's someone who always putts well. Traditionally, we've seen some good putters win here with their long driving, and he's someone who has been hitting the ball pretty far as of late, kind of spraying it, but won't be penalized as much for that at this golf course. 7th place finishes twice out of 3 events here at the Houston Open at Memorial Park, so looking for Sam Burns at 25-1 to maybe break through with a victory. Adam Scott at 45-1. He is older than all these guys that I will mention. He is now 45 years old, but he is hitting the ball plenty far enough. And someone who has had some problems with driving accuracy, I don't think that'll be a problem for him. His irons have been immaculate as of late, especially some of the longer irons that he's going to have to hit on some of these longer par 4s. He doesn't have much of a track record here, a couple of appearances at Memorial Park, but nevertheless, I think he's a great fit, really pops off on any model you put, so Adam Scott at 45-1. You just heard Wes Reynolds gave out Sudarshan Yelamaraju, a Canadian, new to the tour. It's his rookie season. He's self-taught, and you might have been introduced to him a couple weeks ago at the Players. That's the last time he appeared on the PGA Tour. He finished 5th. You might not have known who he was, but there was a Yelamaraju on the leaderboard. That was him. He was putting well. His iron play has been elite. I do worry about his chipping, his around-the-green game, but he hits it far enough, and he is playing well enough on the PGA Tour this season to maybe break through at a Bomber's Paradise. So Sudarshan Yelamaraju, the Canadian, 24 years old, 94-1 this week. Also, a few more bombs here. Just going to go Bomber's Paradise as well. William Mou, that's M-O-U-W. He's 120-1. Someone who hits the ball far enough as well. Has been doing okay as of late. Back-to-back top 25 finishes for him. Also going to go with Jesper Svensson. That is a Swede, Jesper Svensson, who hits the ball really far. He is a bomber only pretty much, so maybe he can get around here like Minwoo Lee did last year. Someone just drives it really well. He's played here last year and finished top 30. He putted well. Traditionally not a very good putter, but 125-1, why not? And then a guy who does not hit the ball very far, Chandler Blanchet, 200-1. Chandler Blanchet, I had him at the Puerto Rico Open. That's an alternate field event that took place 3 weeks ago. He finished second. He was right there. He followed it up with an 18th place finish last week at the Valspar. He's just a great iron player, not typically a great short game player, but nevertheless, his irons are hot enough. I think the driving accuracy doesn't really suit him very well, but 200-1, why not? So Brooks Koepka, Sam Burns, Adam Scott, William Mao, Jesper Svensson, and Chandler Blanchet. And I mentioned our consensus pick, Sudarshan Yelamaraju at 94-1 at our friends over at the Queen and Bally's at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
All right, so the two consensus picks again?
Just one, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, 94-1. Sudarshan, S-U-D-A-R.
Just his last name, dude.
Yelamaraju. Yella. Yella
like
yellow wood.
Like yellow wood.
Y-E-L-L-A-M-A-R-A-J-U. Yelamaraju. It's going to be a mouthful, but it'll stand out.
It's spelled like it sounds. You know.
It is. It actually is. Sudarshan Yelamaraju.
No. I mean, the cliffhanger.
Just go ahead and bet him in some top 20 markets as well if you want to, have the sprinkle.
All right, I'm not looking. Let me try that.
Outright winner.
Yella, Y-E-L-L-A, Ma, M-A, Ra, R-A, J-U.
Yes, correct. There you go. Exactly how it's
You get to move
pronounced.
on in the spelling bee, Jimmy. you get to move.
I get Friday off.
Yeah, you get to, right. Friday off and free fries.
Free fries. Unlimited
free fries. Matt Moscona posting at LouisianaSports.net that NC State meeting with Will Wade today, talking about his possible return and expected to LSU and expected to make a competitive offer within 24 hours to try to keep Wade there. And Matt confirmed an earlier report that we had, and several have had about Heath Schroyer trying to get to LSU on staff somewhere, the McNeese State AD. I believe there's multiple national reports about Schroyer now. That's been lurking there for a while. But this is new about NC State meeting with Wade today. So we'll see what kind of offer they come up with.
Mid-season, this was predictable that they would counter. Okay? The way it slid, and you're one of the last teams in because you're playing in the play-in, and you lose the play-in. Now, again, this is not to see what Texas and see how they followed it up, with a couple of wins in the Sweet 16. It's not it's less embarrassing now or less of a hit, but it's kind of odd what NC State has been leading up to this. Did he raise them as far as getting them into the tournament? Yes. They had not made it every year, but they went to the Final Four. Was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
23, I thought it was.
3 years ago?
I may be a year off.
With big heavy duty.
Kevin Keats.
Heavy. I mean, I think they had to win the conference tournament just to get in.
They did.
It was just like like 83.
They beat Duke in the final for the ACC tournament, and then beat Duke in the regional final. And I think Duke was the number one seed that year as well.
2024, just 2 years ago.
Two years ago.
I was off.
He got fired the next year.
So, he 1 year later, he gets fired.
Where was Wade's stock from North Carolina State's standpoint just a little over a month ago? February the 17th is when they beat North Carolina. Okay, they were at that point, they were 18-6 at that point.
They were.
They were really, really good. And
they went to Clemson. Clemson was like 6-0, 7-0. Beat them at their place.
And they dusted North Carolina. And that was their first game without Caleb Wilson. I get it, but how high was his stock a month ago? And since then they lost.
I don't think it was their first game, but it was early. Yeah.
Since then they've lost 6 out of 7. They won the game against Pitt in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, which is nothing. I mean, that was their last. I think they ended the season losing 5, 6, or 6 or 7 in regular season. 6 or 7. 6 or 7. Yeah, and then they split. They beat Pitt in an early.
And that's why it's been for the last month. he's coming, he's not coming, he's coming, he's not coming. His stock has been all over the place in Raleigh. Okay,
no, stock fell off.
Yeah,
but I mean,
a month ago it was there.
But 10 games ago, they're coming with a counter offer.
Yeah, well, they're coming with a counter offer
now.
today.
As far as the job, now we talk about the job. The job was better this year because what's everybody want to know? What's my player budget? He had more player budget. Close. But he had $1 million more.
And did he get everything that he was promised? You got some reports
but close.
Yeah,
no, but close.
And so
I think he got a higher percentage of what was negotiated pre-job in Raleigh than in Baton Rouge.
We know him well enough that he's going to have all that buttoned up. He'll have guarantees for what he thinks he needs to win.
Yes.
Whether they deliver on the guarantees, I can't say, but he knows what he needs.
Wrapped up our consensus picks brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of Ozzie Brown. Just picking up some documents over there from my dad's secession and things like that. So, I mean, every little step of the way. And both Charlie and I, truly, my law firm for a lifetime. 343-1111 and OCBrown.com.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Gail Benson taking every measure to ensure the Saints have a successful season. This morning she met with the Pope. Pope is very happy about New Orleans, likes New Orleans, very concerned about New Orleans.
I like you, Charlie, but there's only one man. I want to hear his take on this.
Who's that?
HTM. Hold the Mayo. Gail's meet with the Pope. Mayo, what you think? What you got?
Well, look, hey,
keep it clean.
You know when the Pope came in '87 to speak in New Orleans? The Saints made the playoffs, won a playoff game for the first time.
You gotta love the guy that dresses like the Pope at the game, stuff like that. But
they met with the Bensons met with the Pope in 2011. They had a 13-3 season.
It's funny though. The Pelicans and Saints seasons are very intertwined. Horrendous about the halfway point. Second half more respectable, and some wins against some teams at questionable interest level.
I think the Pope would recommend they take Mansour Delane in the first round. It'd be a good pick, right? whatever the Pope says.
The Pelican Saints, once they're completely out of it, they play their best ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair?
It certainly happened this year. DeJounte Murray's helped coming back.
Pelicans playing better, right?
Very much.
Yeah.
Thanks to the folks at Roca Pizzeria for being our host tomorrow with the original walk-ons by Campus. For Max, for Jimmy, for Jordan, I'm Charles.